Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. Our major stories tonight: Cameroon kicks off the 2025-2026 academic year with a double-phase atmosphere. While schools in French-speaking regions resume classes smoothly, the northwest and southwest regions observe their traditional Monday ghost town today, paralyzing circulation in several areas. Away from that, we'll still talk about education. Bad roads and traffic congestion have become a perpetual challenge in Douala, particularly during the rainy season. Students and pupils in various parts of the city struggle to arrive at school on time due to severe traffic jams exacerbated by poor road conditions and ongoing maintenance works. Those are major stories tonight. The news in full in a jiffy. Thank you for getting yourself informed on what's happening in Cameroon and out of Cameroon on Equinoxe television. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. While schools in some parts of Cameroon resume classes today, those in the conflict-hit southwest region woke up worried about their security. The city streets were quiet and many school gates remained closed. The ongoing crisis, especially the ghost town phenomenon, has once again overshadowed what would have been a hopeful day for education in that region. Despite government calls for schools to reopen, many parents are still afraid to send their children to class. We have details with our Southwest correspondent, Rex Afo.
This is what Boya looks like on the day of school resumption across Cameroon.
On a normal school reopening date, this place will be likened to a beehive. But this is no ordinary or normal reopening date.
The abnormality is not far-fetched. It is a recurrent situation which has almost become a tradition for the people of the southwest region since the escalation of hostilities here. Amidst the tense atmosphere, the doors of Bilingual Grammar School Moliko are open.
Today, Monday, the 8th of September, you can see for yourself that we are set. The place has been kept clean, classrooms have been mopped, blackboards have been renovated, our carrier texts are already available, attendance registers are also available. We have disinfected the whole school, and we are ready for takeoff. As you can see, a good number of teachers are already here waiting for the students.
It is a similar situation at the Government Technical High School, Moliko.
The students are there. Teachers are there, classes are going on smoothly. Those who haven't registered yet are doing so at the level of the bursary, and the administrative staff is equally present. In fact, everything is calm, and we must express our gratitude to the governor of the Southwest region, alongside the forces of law and order, who have done everything possible to keep our campus safe and secure.
The town is relatively calmer than usual on normal days. Boya, which is hospitably harboring a tense and uncertain atmosphere, is yet to experience the full strength of the back-to-school fever.
And we stay in the southwest region, but this time around in the Fako division, where heightened sense of security marked the start of the new academic year, with the administration deploying additional security personnel to schools in Limbe. Davidson Maimo reports on the tight security measures put in place in these schools.
Recent surprise attacks by separatist fighters against elements of the state defense and security forces in Malende village, Moyoka subdivision, and Wututu village in Boya subdivision has seen the Fako administration deploying additional security personnel to schools and strategic locations within the division to ensure a smooth start of the 2025-2026 academic year.
For other parents who have effectively sent their children to congratulate them, despite the threats, despite the oaths, despite all the rumors that the enemies have sent out to intimidate the parents not to send their children to school. But I want to tell them, it's a message that I'm sending to all those parents for them to understand that we have only one date back to school. We don't have 2 days, 2 different dates.
After visiting major schools in Limbe 1, 2 and 3 subdivisions to assess the first day of school, the FACO Senior Divisional Officer, Anjabet Viang Mekala, appreciated and encouraged teachers and students who answered present.
From the observation, from what we have seen, we can say that we are satisfied to notice that the school has effectively resumed in FACO division in general and in Limbe, headquarters of the division in particular.
The season administrator called for total collaboration between the population, the administration, defense and security forces to maintain peace and stability.
As always, we have already taken serious security measures.
Though a timid turnout of students on the first day, Viang Mekala cautioned the students against drug abuse and other negative vices that could undermine their academic success. Despite a good number of the lay private schools, including the primary, not opening on the first day, the FACO Senior Divisional Officer noted that 2025 recorded more students than 2024 despite the ongoing challenges.
And also, the conflict northwest region of Cameroon has kicked off the new academic year amidst insecurity and ghost towns severely impacting access to education, particularly for children living with disabilities. The region has been plagued by violence, kidnappings and bombings, forcing many schools to close and disrupting the education of hundreds of thousands of children. Boostella also reports on how day one of back to school looks like. We're coming to this report done by Boostella, where she's going to be telling us how day one of back to school looks like in the conflict northwest region. Her report. Unfortunately, not be able to have that report of day one of back to school in that northwest region. We'll be coming back to that report in a subsequent news edition. Away from that, we'll tell you how today, September 8, marked the reopening of beginning of the 2025-2026 academic year in Cameroon. Nursery school pupils experienced a mix of emotions as they stepped into classrooms for the first time, with many struggling to separate from their parents, as Annabella tells us.
In tears, nursery school pupils of some schools in Bonaberry, like in other parts of Douala, stepped into classrooms for the very first time. Separation from their parents at the Gateway Nursery and Primary School seemed really painful. As first-timers, the environment was strange to them.
Our reopening has been effective. There is an effective resumption because in spite of the rain, there is a massive turnout of parents.
Parents and teachers, however, had time to cajole, console and pamper the kids so they could stay calm on the first day of back to school.
Everything is put in place to make sure that teaching and learning is going on in a conducive atmosphere. As you can see, our classrooms.
Despite the early morning rains and bad roads, the parents still braved it all to bring the kids to school.
Getting my kids to school with the state of the roads, I must tell you, it's terrible. My daughter actually she's stressed to come. I had to get her some boots so that she could traverse the mud when she reaches school before she changes.
At the primary level, the pupils of Memory Bilingual, La Dorothée and La Lumière are a little more conscious. They are happy to be back to school for another year.
I feel very happy to see my friends. Thanks to my parents, which they have paid my school fees, and I'm happy to meet my new friends.
The parents on their part ensured all was put in place for the kids to be in school despite the hard times.
Prepare those children for school has not been an easy task.
Everything is put in place to make sure that teaching and learning is going on in a conducive atmosphere.
Teaching this year is going to be based more on practicals.
Over to Collège La Lumière Yassa, all had been put in place to welcome the kids.
And you will see that all the teachers are already busy teaching.
Same convivial atmosphere at La Dorothea Bilingual School in Yassa. The first day of back to school was unperturbed, according to Mbonya Thomas, who is the head teacher of the school.
Since they have been for 3 months in the house with their parents, as they were crossing the gate to come to school, some of them they were crying, especially the nursery. But for the primary, they are already used to.
In the Douala municipality, just like in other parts of the city, the first day of school resumption for the academic year 2025 commenced hitch-free despite the heavy morning rains.
And now back to our report done by Northwest Chief Correspondent Bostella. She explains that the conflict Northwest region of Cameroon has kicked off the new academic year amidst insecurity and ghost towns, severely impacting access to education, particularly for children living with disabilities. The region has been plagued by violence, kidnappings and bombings, forcing many schools to close and disrupting the education of hundreds of thousands of children. Bostella tells us more. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to have that report done by Chief Correspondent Bostella. We are sorry for the mix-up. And now we talk something else. Bad roads and rains hindered access to several schools today, adding to the perennial challenges faced by students and pupils in Douala. The city's notorious traffic congestion, worsened by ongoing maintenance works, made it difficult for students to arrive at school on time. Sedi Chakutio reports.
After some months of rest, students and pupils resumed classes on the 8th of September 2025. Though timid, it's on bikes, cars or buses that each of them made their way to their different schools. But they complain of the bad state of the road, which makes it difficult for them to move. It was difficult because it was so congested. The roads are very bad. The vehicles don't move. We managed with a motorbike. It wasn't easy. All the roads are bad. How do you expect us to move during this period? Some parents, though they left early enough, say that with these rains, things are getting worse. The child almost fell into the water. I was able to catch him back. With the traffic, we had to take shortcuts. We took roads in neighborhoods so that everyone could be on time. It took us some hours. Students, unlike road users, hope the situation will change before the end of the school academic year.
In the same vein, students and pupils in the city of Douala started a new school year amid poor infrastructural road network, particularly in the Douala 3 subdivision. The extremely degraded Nyala-Logbaba-Dokoti stretch of road compelled learners scramble for bikes and taxis, with commuters stranded along the road. Most of them trekked and consequently arrived to their classrooms very late with mud stains. We have details with Innocent Aze.
Students and pupils in the city of Douala resume school for the 2025-2026 academic year. At the moment, the road infrastructure is a nightmare. The Ndokoti-Logbaba-Nyala stretch of roads in the Douala 3 subdivision is a glaring example, with the numerous craters on this road stretch forming artificial lakes as it rains heavily this period. This and the muddy states of the roads make movement cumbersome and circulation challenging for drivers and bike riders.
My passenger don't go.
Students around Ndokoti, as well as those living in Logbaba and Nyala, face these precarious conditions before getting to their various educational establishments on day one of the new school year.
Route no day, Cameroon no get route for no place. People they suffer.
Les taxis sont rares. Regardez comme je suis à pied pour arriver à Ndokoti. S'il n'y a pas, je vais continuer à pied jusqu'à Ndokoti et afin de prendre la moto.
Pour que les parents sortent, c'est pas du tout évident, c'est pas du tout facile. Je sors de l'école comme ça, inscrit l'enfant. Je ne parviens même pas à trouver le transport pour mon lieu de commerce.
With the scramble for bikes and taxi, which were not even available, most learners trekked to school, with some arriving late and dirty.
Très grave. C'est des enfants qui viennent de tomber même dans l'eau tout à l'heure là, parce qu'ils allaient à l'école. C'est la première journée de l'école, ils vont à l'école étant mouillés, sales.
Les élèves arrivent par vagues, d'autres en moto, certains en voiture, et puis d'autres à pied.
Even teachers and parents accompanying their children to school were not exempted from the ordeals.
Nous qui avons des enfants qui doivent partir d'un quartier pour un autre, par exemple P10 pour Bali, ça ne vaut pas la peine.
Those who managed to get bikes or taxi had to succumb to the driver's slow pace due to the extremely degraded Nyala Logbaba Ndokoti stretch of road, which poses a danger to all.
On est obligé même de
A bike rider says they even escape the roads to ride through people's compounds and on their verandas.
Supplier même dans nos sous-quartiers pour pouvoir circuler et aller laisser les enfants à l'école.
With the current state of affairs and the slow pace at which road projects are realized in the city of Douala, it is feared pupils and students in this part of the city of Douala might pass a greater part of the academic year in this pathetic condition.
And Bello Buba Maigari, the presidential hopeful representing the National Union for Democracy and Progress UNDP party, recently took his message of change to Bamenda. With the October 12th presidential election approaching, Maigari outlined his vision for a brighter future, focusing on key areas such as job creation, agricultural support, and infrastructural development. Details with our Northwest correspondent, Bo Stella.
The presidential candidate and leader of the National Union for Democracy and Progress, Bello Buba Maigari, arrived in Bamenda as part of his nationwide tour. The presidential hopeful was welcomed by cheering crowds eager to hear his message of change. Speaking at the rally, Maigari outlined his plans, placing the resolution of the Anglophone crisis as a top priority in his political program.
For too long, your voices have not been heard. I commit before you today, consulting all stakeholders of the Northwest on the future of the region and of our country. Opening dialogue with separatist leaders for lasting peace and reintegration of those who wish to return. Granting the Northwest a truly special status that respects your educational, legal, and administrative specificities.
He equally pledged improvements in infrastructure, economic growth, and governance reforms, promising to deliver a more inclusive future for Cameroonians.
We will recognize your history, your cultures, your value to this nation. You are not forgotten and you will never be forgotten. We will also a chapter of prosperity, bringing jobs, education, and opportunities to young people and families.
During the event, 7 individuals who said they were charmed by the NUDP's program announced their defection from the PCRN to join Maigari's camp. As the presidential race gains momentum, Bello Buba Maigari hopes that his message of inclusiveness and development will resonate with voters, especially in areas like Bamenda, where expectations for change remain high.
Boost the last report, and in this first part of the news, Cameroon Today comes up next. Residents of Lowe, a locality in the Mungo division, are voicing concerns that the government has neglected a historic primary school that has educated many prominent individuals. The mayor of Lowe attributes this neglect to the country's lack of genuine decentralization, which limits the local government's ability to renovate the school. Smaji Kangibu sheds more light on the state of government primary school, Lowe.
Out of grass, goats are taking their lunch. Welcome to the government primary school in Lowe, Mungo division, which is gradually being transformed into a feeding ground for goats. Roofs destroyed, dirty walls, and a section of the blackboard still surviving the storm indicates people used to be taught here. Worse still, one of the lecture rooms has been transformed into a swimming pool. These images, which were taken some few days to the start of the new school year, left parents disturbed. All of the goats in Lowe are now living at the government primary school. Before, the government primary school in Lowe wasn't like this. It's about 6 years now. The school has been abandoned. It doesn't resemble anything again. It has become something else. It's no longer the government primary school we talked about. It's now a farm. We don't know if we are moving ahead or behind. There is no teacher too at the government primary school in Lowe, as everyone is running to go register their kids somewhere else. The situation of the school for the past 6 years has left the inhabitants too disturbed, pointing fingers at the head teacher and the government. The state has abandoned us. We don't even know if the teachers will go to school or not. The kids will also be infected. Before the holidays, the mayor was there as well as the SDO, but till date, nothing has been done. We need an urgent intervention. We are asking that the head teacher of the school should be removed because the head teacher does nothing to change the face of the school building. Unable to meet with the head teacher, we talked with the Secretary General of the Lowe Council. He blamed the situation on the slow decentralization policy. GPS Lowe is not different from other schools in Cameroon. Manjo has more than 20 schools, and due to decentralization, councils have been given the power to rehabilitate schools, but unfortunately, the means haven't been transferred to them. It's the little that the council has that from time to time we struggle to change the face of bad schools. The kids who are supposed to use this structure are patiently waiting for an urgent response from the state.
And that's it for the second part of the news talking point. Comes up next. The 2025-2026 academic year officially began today in some regions of Cameroon. And to answer my questions on tonight's edition of Talking Point is a principal. She's a principal of Atlanta Bilingual High School in Douala, and she's known as NJITA Elodie MUDOH. Good evening. It's a pleasure to have you on Talking Point tonight. What was the experience like on the first day of classes for the 2025-2026 academic year, which began today?
The 2025-2026 academic year has begun from our end very successfully because we have the children, the students who have come actually in their numbers. The teachers are there, and we had already drawn timetables and distributed these timetables for teachers to kickstart effectively. Now, from our end, we have challenges that we have been experiencing, especially as at today, that we have parents coming in to register and admit their children. In most cases, these parents come without the birth certificate, of which the minister actually insisted that we use the birth certificate to register the children, especially the new ones, because of the unique matriculation that is out there now. So what we do is that for parents who didn't come, we ask if there is a birth certificate, we ask that they snap and they send to us. So with that one, it's not really too much of a challenge. Then we have other parents that are vulnerable, and because of this vulnerability, they have challenges and difficulties paying fees. So due to that, we tell them to pay the registration sum of 20,000 francs. This 20,000 francs now will permit their children's name be written in the system. And then if they have difficulties in paying the fees, to some cases, we do some kind of reduction to help the parents. And then with others, they take commitment, and we tell them to do engagement of instrumental fee payments. So they can say, okay, every month I'm going to give 20,000 francs, and then to complete. A handwritten document is given, and the parent is supposed to respect that.
As a principal of Atlanta Bilingual High School Douala, what specific measures will your institution implement to enhance student performance this academic year compared to the previous ones?
Atlanta Bilingual Comprehensive High School has taken some principal objectives, which is making maximum use of digital resources and digitalization. That's the first thing. The second one is going by the theme of the school year, in which the minister says we should ensure to have a safe school, a healthy school environment for every student that is studying. And then the third thing is reinforcing in and around our campus security. Why the last that we have taken for this academic year is making sure that we maintain the good results that we have been having for the past years. And how are we going to get these results that we have been having for the past years? The very first one is sensitizing our parents to be working hand in gloves with the school administration, the teachers, in collaboration with their children to see that their results are good. The next thing is that we have made groups. We have created groups for all examination classes, in which all these groups, there are teachers that have been assigned to a particular group. What is the use of this group? There is going to be a strict follow-up. This teacher now will have the responsibility of helping the students to draw a timetable for themselves, helping the child for counseling situations to how are situations back at home. If a child is in the house, at what time is the child supposed to sleep? At what time is the child supposed to wake up and read? So we form these groups and assign teachers to read. And then the last being, we have also made parents to take an engagement. They themselves, they should commit themselves into the success of their children. This not only being the parent, there is also the child, because we have also given a form in which the child signs a kind of, I am going to be very good, I'm going to be coming to classes, I'm going to be respectful, I'm going to copy my notes, and the parent co-signs this particular paper. Now that paper is kept in the office. We make the child now to understand reasons through counseling why the child should be committed in learning, and then to facilitate the success at the end. Because it is not only the school or the parent that's involved, we have a triangle of the parents, the school, and the student. If all this triangle, if all the persons in the triangle do work well, then we are very sure again to keep maintaining the results, because this time around, I'm working for 100%.
Now, given the challenges faced by parents and students, particularly those who fled the war in the northwest and southwest regions and are residing in Bonaberry, how will your school address their needs and provide holistic education? What difficulties does your school face in this endeavor?
With the admission, we have a lot of students coming from the northwest and the southwest regions, and we have discovered that there are most of them that they cannot read, they cannot pay fees, and so on. So with some, we do some kind of evaluative test. What is the essence of this test? I look at the age of the child. For example, we may have a child who is born in 2011, 2010. They come and they want to get into Form 1. So when I call the child, I'll tell the child to read. I ask the child 1 or 2 to get the IQ of the child. And when they answer well, I may decide to put that child in Form 2 for technical studies. And then I make the parent, now we get into an engagement that you try to see that there is a follow-up. Where there is a difficulty or challenge, the child should feel free to come to me to the office, and then we see who we can put in place to help the child at that point in need. Then, in as much as fees is concerned, we make it in such a way that they try to register their child with a base sum of 20,000 francs. Once that money is given, if there are some cases that they are very vulnerable, we'll have to go into reducing part of their fees. Now with this, the proprietors are involved, reducing their fees so that it's education for every child. Then, at that point in time, we will tell the parent now to take an engagement on how the parent will be paying fees. So we call it an instrumental engagement of fee payment. So they can decide every month, they may be given a 10,000 francs or a 20,000, depending on the fee of that class, to reduce the stress of fee.
Elodie Mudo, Principal of Atlanta Bilingual High School, Douala. Thank you so much for your time. And that's where we put a cap to today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your keen attention. Stay in the company of interesting programs on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now.